and welcome. I'm Ijoma Hunyato. Tonight, Nigerian Army court-martials 20 soldiers prosecuting the counterinsurgency operations in Borno State over unauthorized sale of ammunition and other offences. At least 15 inmates escaped following a jailbreak in Nsukka, Enugu State. Federal government reaffirms efforts to ensure deadline for switchover from analog to digital broadcasting is met. And US-backed Libyan militias seize control of the headquarters of Islamic State in Sirte.
On Business News tonight, South Africa overtakes Nigeria again as Africa's biggest economy.
And then sports news, Nigeria's Dream Team 6 makes 5 changes to their starting 11 for the game against Colombia at the football event Rio 2016.
I'm Gloria Umezuki, and from Abuja, the Federal Road Safety Court to begin enforcement of speed limit device installation in commercial vehicles from October the 1st.
We begin tonight in Borno State, Nigeria's northeast region, where the Nigerian Army's court-martial trying of 4 of its officers and 16 other soldiers has adjourned sitting to September the 5th, 2016. The Army's 7th Division in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, set up a general court-martial to try the military personnel for offences which include alleged criminal sale of arms to non-military persons, as well as abuse of human rights during the ongoing war against Boko Haram, northeast Nigeria. The acting general officer commanding 7th Division, Brigadier General Victor Ezugu, says they were found wanting in discharge of their duties in the volatile northeast.
The inauguration of the General Court-Martial to try the 20 soldiers who've been accused of various offences in the course of the ongoing counter-insurgency war, codenamed Operation Lafia Doni. The soldiers, comprising 4 officers and 16 other ranks, have been in detention for months. The president of the court-martial, Brigadier General Olusegun Adeniyi, after the inauguration, reads a riot act to the Prosecuting and Defense Council.
I want to call on the prosecutors and the prosecution to do their best not to cause unnecessary delay, unnecessary and unfruitful adjournment. Request for adjournment will not be welcome.
The acting general officer commanding 7th Division, Brigadier General Victor Ezugu, speaks with journalists on some of the alleged offences of the accused officers.
Some of them have committed offences that had to do with selling of ammunition, and some of them are involved in some other behaviours that is contrary to the ethics of professional conduct of officers and soldiers during operations like this. The essence is that while fighting insurgency, we are mindful of the fact that we have to be above board.
The court adjourned sitting till September 5th, following a request by the prosecutor seeking more time to prepare the charges against the accused. The defense counsel speaks on the rejection of a bail application for the accused, who have spent between 6 to 18 months in detention.
On the ground that there's nothing before them as to charge, proof of evidence as required by the law. So we quite agree with them, because they cannot act in vain. They must act with something before them. There must be a charge sheet. So in that regard, therefore, we have considered to the adjournment, and the matter was adjourned to 5th day of September 2016 for mention and possibly for hearing.
While assuring of his mission to conclude the trials within the shortest possible time, the president of the court-martial noted that the time spent in detention by the accused soldiers will be adequately accounted for.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian army is claiming that it's uncovered plans by the terrorist group Boko Haram to launch attacks in parts of the country. An online news medium had reported that an intelligence document it obtained indicates that Lagos, Kano, Sokoto, Kebbi, Bauchi, Katsina, Imo, Yobe and Borno states, as well as the Federal Capital Territory, are to be targeted by the terrorists. But the spokesman for the Nigerian Army, Colonel Sani Usman, told Channels Television that the report has no basis and that the purported document did not emanate from the Office of the Chief of Army Staff. And the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, is asking security agencies in the country not to treat the rumors that Boko Haram terrorists are recruiting members from internally displaced persons camps in the northeast with levity. The Senate President's office says it's become necessary for the nation's intelligence outfits to take such rumors seriously by stopping the alleged plan. Dr. Saraki says with recent revelations that ISIS has been recruiting members from European refugee camps, it's important for these rumors about Boko Haram recruitments to be taken seriously. On the issue of aid and funding from international partners, Dr. Saraki says there's need for a better coordinated response by the federal government to the situation in the northeast. In other issues, officials at the Nsukka prison in Enugu State, Nigeria's southeast region, are on the trail of about 15 inmates who escaped last night. Reports say that the inmates broke out of their cells and scaled the fence. The Comptroller of Prisons, Mr. Lawrence Okonkwo, who confirmed the incident, refused to give the number of inmates that escaped. Mr. Okonkwo insists only the Enugu State Prisons Controller, Mr. Isaiah Amarere, can brief journalists on the matter. In the meantime, unconfirmed reports say that 2 escapees have been re-arrested. The Enugu incident is coming about 2 weeks after 13 inmates escaped from the Cotton Karfe medium security prison in Kogi State. The United States government, through its Agency for International Development, will provide over $37 million as humanitarian assistance to people affected by the ongoing conflict in the Lake Chad Basin. Speaking today in Abuja, the director of the U.S. Office for Foreign Disaster Assistance says the U.S. will continue support efforts aimed at resettling those forced to flee their homes while rebuilding their communities. Last week, the United Nations said 5 million people within the Lake Chad Basin need emergency food assistance, while 2.5 million others are displaced.
Some of this programming is already operating, and we will be further scaling it up in the months ahead. As I said, the U.S. has given $318 million over the past few years to this crisis, so there's a lot of programming that's already underway, and we are continuing to expand it.
We are receiving massive assistance in terms of capacity building and what have you. So I must say that the United States government is the single largest donor now in addressing the issue of insurgency in Nigeria. Therefore, we want to use this opportunity to call on other donors to scale up their assistance because the situation is overwhelming.
The police command in Ebonyi State has condemned the recent actions by some men, including 3 police officers who allegedly tortured a 15-year-old girl. Briefing newsmen at the command headquarters in Abakaliki, the Ebonyi State capital, the Commissioner of Police, Peace Abdallah, said the girl was stripped and whipped with canes. She said the policemen who were indicted, alongside 2 others, have been arrested and will be prosecuted. Similarly, the command paraded some suspected child traffickers who allegedly specialize in kidnapping babies in the state. The federal government will meet the June 2017 deadline set by the International Telecommunications Union for migration from analog to digital broadcasting, and that's according to the Minister of Information, Mr. Lai Mohammed. He made this known while briefing State House correspondents on the outcome of the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by the President.
An update from my ministry in the process of migrating from analog to digital broadcasting. As you are aware, the ITU new deadline to migrate from analog to digital broadcast is June 2017. And already the pilot scheme in Jos, which was successfully deployed at the end of April, it's working very well. And today, those who are in possession of our set-top boxes. You can view 15 channels with clarity, in Jos. And the highlight of today's council meeting is that the council reaffirmed its support for us to meet the deadline of 2017 June, and has directed that the relevant ministries work together to achieve this deadline.
Nigerian workers have been advised not to allow any arm of government in Nigeria meddle with the national minimum wage in the name of economic recession. This advice is coming from the Edo State Governor Adams Oshomole while speaking at a forum organized by the Kuka Center for Leadership in Abuja, where he described the non-payment of wages to workers as a criminal breach of trust. Governor Oshomole said removing the minimum wage from the exclusive list will further impoverish the average worker.
Everybody must survive.
It is a gathering of Nigerians from all walks of life as the Kuka Center for Leadership presents its podium for Governor Adams Oshomole of Edo State to address Nigerians. In a lecture titled From Activism to Political Power, the Challenges of Democratic Governance in Nigeria, Governor Oshomole advocates the retention of the national minimum wage to protect workers in the states.
If we have a national compensation for all governors, how can those governors turn around to question the wisdom of having a national minimum wage?
The chairman of the occasion and former governor of Cross River State enjoins Nigerians to interrogate the concept of change as advocated by the ruling administration of President Buhari.
Politicians in our society today are mostly jobbers and budget padders, advocating for themselves and not society. They cleverly and surreptitiously apply the word change.
A former governor of Niger State calls on Governor Rochas Okorocha of Imo State to retrace his steps on sending civil servants to the farm.
Please talk to Okorocha. Civil servants who are not employed to the farmers.
The forum, which attracts several dignitaries, including civil society groups and non-governmental organizations, is a platform provided by the Kuka Center for Leadership to enable eminent Nigerians interact with other citizens on issues affecting the nation.
Does it make you less competent?
In part two, after the break, federal government begins the process of reviving grazing reserves in Kaduna State. That's in a moment. We'll join us again.